Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another edition of the Boom Boom Room, coming to you courtesy of KocoSports.com. Of course, I am the sexiest man on all over at Wrestling Radio. That's right, Boom Boom here, shaking the room live from the RVA, talking about Richmond, Virginia. And ladies and gentlemen, Smackdown is in the books. We had the final blow-off show leading into the next upcoming pay-per-view, which is Payback, coming to you live this weekend on May the 17th. So really, if you watch this show, just tell me what you thought down here in the comment sections. Was it a win? Was it a loss? Or was it a tie? Me looking at this, I'm gonna give tonight's show a win. I thought it was a decent show. I was definitely shocked. I think maybe it was because of lack of dun 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 and Mr. Stares Through Your Fucking Soul. So without those two guys, I think the pace actually picked up, and it was a pretty decent show. Definitely better than Raw, I will say that. But then again, that's not exactly setting the bar that high. Most everything is better than Raw. You know, I've had a flat tire. That was better than Raw. You know, I ate a bad burrito. Oh, that was better than Raw. You know, oh no, I had to clean out my cat box. Oh no, that's still better than Raw. All right, so it started out with a little bit of a talking segment, which usually I'm not really big on, but I guess the only benefit to this was it did set you know the tone for the show. They came out with Dean Ambrose, or actually Dean Ambrose, and he talked about hitting Roman Reigns, and then Reigns came out to interrupt, and you know those two were like, well, you know, good luck, you know, going into Payback. And then, but Kane comes out and interrupts, and he says that's going to be every man for himself. And so that leads to the first match of the night. Take two leads to the first match of the night. Kane puts Dean Ambrose in a match against Sheamus, which starts when, kids? Right now. This was actually a pretty good match. We didn't have to wait forever for this. It was actually pretty good. Normally on Raw, you know, Triple H, the Authority, they come out and run their damn mouths, and it takes 20, 30 minutes before anything gets to happen. Now, the fact that it only took 10 is actually a huge benefit here. Still kind of long, but I think it worked out. But anyway, on to the match. Dean Ambrose versus Sheamus. Believe it or not, this actually turned out to be a really good match. It really showcased Dean Ambrose, and then they also mentioned Sheamus and his match coming up at Payback. And I thought immediately out the gate, this is going to be a fuck finish, because I mean, you got Dean Ambrose, who WWE is building up. Going into Payback, you know, coming out of nowhere, turning the triple threat into a fatal four-way, and then Sheamus going into the rubber match. Actually, yeah, I think it might actually be the rubber match against Dolph Ziggler. And I thought, okay, they're going to have Seth Rollins come in, run interference, get him disqualified. Where I thought Ziggler would get upset, come in to save Ambrose and cause a disqualification. No, they actually went for a pretty good match. Ambrose managed to block White Noise. He dropped, I mean, fucking spiked Sheamus off that top rope into the ring pole and got a roll-up and got the win. So not a huge fan of the roll-ups, but in this case, this match actually worked. So definitely pretty good. I'm not a huge Sheamus fan. Even I got to take my hat off to Sheamus for putting on a good match. So definitely worth your time. Then after that, you had Rusev and Lana come out to the ring. You had Lana read a scripted apology. Then Rusev talked about, you know, beating John Cena, coming up at Payback in the I Quit match, then played the John Cena in a previous interview saying I quit repeatedly. And then just that was the end of the segment. I like the build. I'm smelling a turn here coming up for Lana at this pay-per-view. Maybe this will be her face turn. But so far, I like it. I really don't think this match should be happening. Is if you've listened to our pay-per-view profits podcast the other night, and if you haven't, you can always find that on our YouTube page. I think we might actually have it uploaded to KocoSports.com by now. we're like, technically speaking, John Cena's already won this. He's won three. He's won two out of the last three, and winning four. I mean, that's like winning 4 games after 6 of the World Series and going off to play Game 7 anyway. It makes no sense. But anyway, what are you gonna do? Then they interviewed Renee Young interviewed Ryback about his match against Seth Rollins. That was set up by Kane of the Authority. And talked about Bray Wyatt stalking him. He said he was going to pick up where he left off on Monday night. We go into Seth Rollins versus Ryback. Ryback was jumped by Bray Wyatt going into this match, and I watched it, and to me, this made Ryback look like a fucking bitch. Okay, bear this in mind. Okay, Seth Rollins is already in the ring. Here comes Ryback. It's like, oh my God, he's going to face like this big, meathead, this muscular guy. The guy's fucking huge. His muscles has muscles. He could probably bench press a Volkswagen Beetle. That's how big he is. So with that being said, Ryback walks to the ring. Bray Wyatt comes out of nowhere, and I kid you not, pushes him down. Like he runs up and shoves him. I mean, it made Monty Brown's pounce look like Bill Goldberg's spear. Anyway, Ryback gets pushed down essentially by Bray Wyatt, and he's like, "Oh," grabbing his head. "Oh no, I've been attacked." And Bray Wyatt's laughing over it, and he goes to the back, and then Ryback gets into the ring. So eventually, Seth Rollins is ready to go now to take on an injured opponent, and then Ryback's like, "No, we can still have this match. We can." So they ring the bell. And for the most part, Rollins got up on top of Ryback, and Ryback tried to battle back into it. Sorry, but you could see that Ryback was just really couldn't overcome the odds, and Rollins got the win with that version of the DDT, or no, excuse me, it was a super kick while he was kneeled down. Ryback was on his knees. Rollins hit him with a super kick and got the win. 1, 2, 3, actually clean. And I'm shocked. So there you go. Again, I understand that you need to make Seth Rollins look smarmy, because there's only 2 types of heels that you really have in professional wrestling. There's like the huge gargantuan monster that's destroying everything in his path, and then you have like the fucking bitch. And with all due respect to Seth Rollins, I mean, he's playing the part perfectly. I think he's probably the best villain WWE has had probably like the past couple of years. He's playing that part perfectly. So way to go with him. And plus J&J Security running interference. I mean, it was good for what it was. But I was actually kind of shocked. You don't want to have either one of these guys take a loss, but just like the Dean Ambrose Sheamus match, you had 2 guys that needed to win going in, and they lost. So maybe that's going to affect some betting here. Also added, by the way, is to Payback is there's going to be a Divas tag match. You're going to have the Bella Twins taking on Naomi and Tamina. And for those of you who listen to our Payback pay-per-view profit show, our little pick'em contest, our predictions, even though we didn't mention it yet, it will still count. So if you've already picked and you haven't put any picks in for this match, please get this match in, and take care of everything there. We're going to have some fun. Let's see. American Alucard's asking the question here is, why is SmackDown sometimes better than Raw? To be honest, I think they don't have as many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. I think the reason why SmackDown can potentially be better than Raw is, for one, it's not live. It's a shorter show. Okay, it's a shorter show for one. 2, it's not live, so you can edit things out. So if somebody botches a move or a segment runs too long, you can just edit it out. You don't have to cut something down the road. Like me, I'm a producer by trade, and I only have for example, on my when I produce like noon shows, I only have 30 minutes. And a perfect example of this is my anchor had an interview in one segment, and I allotted 3 minutes. And since it was a live interview, The guest that we brought on went over that 3 minutes. In fact, he went, I think, a little closer to 5. And that was 2 minutes that I had to find to kill out later on in my show to get back on time. And that's the same thing with Raw. When it's live, you've got those 3 hours, well, maybe a little bit more, because that overrun. But anyway, you've only got so much time. You have to cut things out here and there, so maybe the matches run shorter. But whereas on SmackDown, it's a 2-hour show, and plus it's not live, so you can edit things. Also, since it's not live, I mean, you don't have people having to hit commercial breaks at specific times, because that's another part of it. You have sponsors, and you're obligated, since you're taking their money, you're obligated to cut those, to get those commercial breaks in. Also, since it's not live, you don't have as many people like going, okay, well, we got to hit this by this particular time. We have to have get all these sponsors in. We have to make sure that we have, this going on because this is what NBC wants. And I think it's just, less things. It's just pre-recorded, and you can compartmentalize everything and have it flow a little bit better. At least that's just my opinion from working in, at least in TV. So that's my opinion going with that. Again, Naomi and Tamina is basically saying they're tired of being overlooked. That's why they decided not to be a good girl. Sometimes good girls have to be bad girls to get what they want, and there you go. Next, we had a little bit of a sneak preview of the tag match. We had Kofi Kingston representing the New Day versus Tyson Kidd of, well, some people are calling the Brass Ring Club, but officially it's still Cesaro and Kidd. This was actually a really good match. This was really kind of a short match, but it was really good. Kofi Kingston had this match where he did like a Hurricanrana, which doubled into like a variation of the camel clutch. It was actually really good. But eventually you had the New Day being their usual. I mean, I like them now that they're heel. But Kidd, man, locked on that sharpshooter on Kofi Kingston. Kingston tried to get out of it, tried to get to the ropes, couldn't quite make it, had no choice, had to tap out. Maybe that's a sneak preview of things to come. And again, I'm going to keep promoting the hell out of this. If you haven't got your picks in with our Pick'em contest, just go look at our subscribe to us if you're not already, but go back. We've got it labeled. We did it. Dave and I did it the other night. You can just take a look at our Pick'em contest for Payback, and you just get your picks in. And when's the deadline? You have until the pay-per-view starts. So if you can get your picks in now, or you can get them in on Sunday morning for all I care, but you got to get them in before the pay-per-view starts. Once the pay-per-view starts, your picks are locked and you can't enter anymore. So there you go. Then they did a recap of Daniel Bryan relinquishing the Intercontinental Championship. I shouldn't spend too much on this one, but considering I don't get to do Monday Night Raws anymore because of my work schedule, I figured real quickly I would just share my thoughts on that. Yeah, that was a very touching moment. I mean, that's drama and everything done right, because we care about a character so much that, I mean, people were like chanting no. I mean, they genuinely felt emotion. I mean, this was nothing manufactured. This was just about as raw as it, well, pardon the pun, raw as it gets. Just raw, just pure, genuine emotion. And I think WWE could harness that and work it a little bit better. As far as Daniel Bryan goes, I think he's doing the right thing by surrendering the Intercontinental Championship. I do think it needs to be defended. But I think a lot of this blame falls on Daniel Bryan himself. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I believe that he tried to come back too soon. That's what I think. I think he'd been out 8 months at that point. He went to a doctor after, kind of striking out, was worried about having to get a second surgery, but found somebody that was helping him, found a doctor in Colorado, I believe, that was helping him, that was really helping. And, the Royal Rumble was coming up, and then WrestleMania was coming up. And I really think he wanted to be back in time for Mania. I think he wanted to be back for Mania season. I mean, career-wise, that's the best time of the year for WWE. Also, the paydays are fucking outrageous. So I just think he tried to rush it back. And this isn't, uncommon. Kurt Angle was guilty of this back in the day. He broke his neck. And instead of, getting the normal surgery and going back out, no, he went through like this other surgeon, and it was like a fusion operation. He wound up hurting his neck again and had to get that done and had to get the regular surgery done anyway. Same thing happened with Chris Sabin over in TNA. He blew his knee out. He rehabbed. He tried to come back and blew his knee out again. Like his first match back. Like that first match, boom, blows out his knee again. Gets his and has to go back. So I think Daniel Bryan kind of fell into that. He kind of fell into that temptation to, hey, let's try, the specialist here. Let's see what we can do. We can get back in the ring a little bit faster. When in reality, he probably just should have sat out and got the second surgery and just been done with it. Instead, yeah, it was cool that he got to come back for the Royal Rumble, even though that was a fucking clusterfuck. And he got his WrestleMania moment in the ladder match. But still, I know hindsight's always 20/20, but I think he tried, he tried too hard, and it came back to bite him in the butt. I don't think his career is over. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, should he retire? Should he retire?" You know what? That's going to be between him, his wife, and his doctor. Me just looking at it on the surface, let's just get that second surgery just to see what happens. And if things don't work out, I mean, hell, they don't work out. I mean, it's just, I mean, hell, he had a hell of a run anyway. I mean, if his career ended now, I mean, yeah, it would suck, but I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of. He's got moments that nobody can take away from him. I mean, he had a great ladder match at Mania this year. He headlined WrestleMania last year, and something we'll never forget. I mean, hell, look at his career in Ring of Honor. I mean, Daniel Bryan is going to have a historic career. He's a Hall of Famer, bottom line. And, maybe he's not done. Maybe he can be a trainer in NXT. I mean, think about it. I mean, right now you got the Brian Kendrick working fucking miracles with Ava Marie. Imagine what would happen if Daniel Bryan got a hold of people like, Baron Corbin and, Dave's favorite NXT wrestler, Bull Dempsey. Imagine if he got a hold of people like Ty Dillinger, Jason Jordan, Scott Dawson, Dash Watt, or Angelo Dawkins. Imagine if he got a hold of people like them and started training them. Can you imagine the fucking talent NXT would be cranking out with somebody like Daniel Bryan as a trainer? I mean, God, it would be mind-blowing. You talk about some fucking good wrestlers, it'd be like a fucking main event factory then. So everybody don't give up on the poor kid yet. Let's just let him handle things, and everything's going to be okay. I'm kind of optimistic about that. With that being said, Bo Dallas came out after that video package they showed of Daniel Bryan surrendering the Intercontinental Championship, and he talked about the people going through the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, and related all of those to Daniel Bryan's situation. And then, so all you got to do is believe. It's good to see him back, by the way. And this led to the next match, Neville versus Bo Dallas, with Wade Barrett on commentary. This was actually a pretty quick match. I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, what you think happened. Neville got the best of Bo Dallas, hit the red arrow for the win. This guy is so fucking over. Think about it. He's only been in the company for a couple of months now, if that. And I mean, people they're popping for his music. I mean, they're doing his little, finger pointing gesture. They're doing that with him now. He's also made a special appearance on a talk show. So he's doing good with kids, because there was I don't know what state it was, but there was a home intruder. It was a mother and her 11-year-old son. They discovered that this guy had been hiding out. I don't want to say burglarizing, but he was in their house. He shouldn't have been in there. So when the mother, stumbles across this, home intruder, I think it was in her bathroom, she went into fight or flight mode and started just pummeling this guy. And her son went over, got the cell phone, and called 911, kept calm. They eventually kind of kept the guy at bay till the cops got there and arrested him. They talked about, since that incident, he had trouble sleeping. And one of the things that got him, there were several things that got him through, but one of the things that got him through was WWE. And they talked about, well, who's your favorite wrestler? It's like, oh, it's Neville. Remember, this is an 11-year-old kid. Granted, I know if he was 8, he'd probably say John Cena. that one's for you, Dave. But instead, he said, no, you know, Adrian Neville's my favorite wrestler because he's the man that gravity forgot. I mean, he just blows my mind. And then, well, this talk show, you have to Google it because I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head. So, oh, and they wanted to bring him out. And he came on this talk show. He brought like this gift basket for this kid that had all this WWE merchandise in it. I mean, there were like T-shirts, DVDs, hats, all kinds of cool stuff in there. It gave this kid a big old hug. I mean, it was a great touching moment. And, you know, said, "No, no, you're a hero. You're a really brave kid." And I was like, wow. I mean, and already, I mean, what, 2 months on the main roster, and look what he's doing. He's making a big impact. And less creative and creative. And granted, this is WWE creative, and they could fuck up a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I think Neville's got a bright future ahead of him. I really do. I mean, he's got a good look. He can wrestle. People are connecting with him. He seems like a cool guy that you'd want to hang out with. He's like a guy you want to call up. Hey, Neville, man, we're going out. You want to come out with us, man? Oh yeah, great. We'll pick you up at 8. I mean, he just seems like that kind of guy you would hang out with. So great momentum. Great momentum. Let's see here. Next, we had this backstage segment was just fucking weird. It was Adam Rose. He was hanging out with Rosa Mendez because fuck it, why not? Yeah, I understand about Rosa Mendez and the breakup with. Oh, no, actually, yeah. No, that was a different. Yeah, Rosa Mendez, the breakup with Fandango. So Adam Rose and Rosa Mendez are hanging out, and the hot dog, I'm not making that up, the hot dog, whose name was Carl, was asking, well, when do we get paid? And he's like, well, this is a part of a revolution. We're not doing this for money. And then he says, so to clarify, we're not getting paid. And then he wound up pushing down the hot dog, and he said, well, the party's over. And then Adam Rose and Rosa Mendez start making out the hallway. This is just something that frustrates the hell out of me because Adam Rose, I mean, WWE, you got, and this was just like a minute, 2 minute backstage little segment here. And I felt like WWE, fuck you. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. I mean, this pissed me off. I mean, it really pissed me off. And no, and it did piss me off because Adam Rose did this segment. It doesn't piss me off because Rosa Mendez did it. It pissed me off because here is WWE creative. They get handed a fucking storyline, a character. They get handed all this stuff on a silver platter by ESPN, who, by the way, got Adam Rose over in under 10 minutes. WWE has not been able to get this guy over in about a year. ESPN did it in 10 minutes. And they had, I mean, it's a perfect storyline. I mean, they could have did some kind of changing because here's a man that, was homeless in South Africa, had to fight on the streets, and the only thing that really essentially saved his life was the fact that he fell into professional wrestling, and he got good at it. He was a star in South Africa. WWE comes calling. He comes over to the U.S. He winds up falling in love with an American woman, and they have a baby that has a birth defect. And the very first image you see on that ESPN or that E60 behind the curtain special was he goes into his son's room, holds up like this syringe-looking thing that's to a tube attached to his son's stomach, and has to feed him via like this type of formula. My God. That is, I mean, dude, that'll make it, dude, I'm a grown-ass man, and even I almost teared up. And here's like this beautiful storyline here. Here's a guy who's not only, fighting for himself, but he's fighting for his family, his son. He's trying to provide a better life. And, his son's going to have more surgeries, and that's what he's doing this for. And there's talks now about, well, should they bring back Leo Kruger? And they could have kicked that off tonight, but instead it was, okay, he's still a dick. We're going to push down the hot dog and make out with Rosa Mendez because fuck it, we're too goddamn lazy to write a fucking real storyline. Fuck you, WWE. Fuck your so-called fucking creative team. I guess if they don't wear a fucking little trucker baseball cap or stand 7 feet tall and have a shit ton of tattoos, you don't give a fuck about them. I mean, that's just something that blows my mind. Why do you shit on people like this? This would be like, okay, let's just say baseball. Let's take Dave's favorite team, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. And let's just say they're pitching struggling. They've only got so many pitchers. There's like Okay, a couple of guys are hurt. So what do? They call up a guy from their farm league, up from their AAA team. I don't know who their AAA team is, but they call up one guy. And that would be like, okay, we're going to bring this kid up here. He's done really well in the AAA. We really need him now. We got to secure the future here. And instead, but they bring the kid out of the bullpen. They have him throw one pitch. They go, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Then the manager goes out to the mound, tells him to give him the ball. It goes, calls out to the bullpen, brings out the older pitcher, and they're not doing much. They're not doing much better. I mean, you're not. Why call him up? Why call him up if you're going to have him throw one pitch and go, well, he just doesn't have it. We're not going to work with him. We're not going to try anything differently. We're not going to try to coach him up. We're just going to say he can't do it. We're going to put him on the bench, and we're going to keep going with the same guys and the same guys. We wonder why we don't get any better. We wonder why we don't go to the World Series. Same thing with WWE. Why do you bother recruiting these guys? Why do you bother training these guys? Why do you bother giving these guys these gimmicks so you can take them up to the main roster and go, you know what? I don't get it. The fans aren't getting it. We're not really going to change anything, but they just don't get it. So you guys are just going to job out. I mean, wouldn't as a promoter you want everybody to be successful? What you want to, because I mean that's more dream matches. That's more money because that's more people who pay money, and you want them to be successful because if they're successful, you can be successful. You can make more money instead of just being dependent on two guys. Imagine having a roster of like 10, 15, 20 guys that you could legitimately build programs around and main events around that people would pay good money to see. And if somebody gets hurt, boom, there's your backup plan. Why they don't do that is beyond me, especially with Adam Rose. Everybody shat on Adam Rose, and I said, no, it's just not working. It's just a different thing. His little party boy gimmick works at NXT because it's smaller, more intimate. It just doesn't work in the main level. We probably need to change up a few things. Instead, the big change was they turned him heel. And now they put Rosa Mendez with him because, fuck it, he happened to be there when Fandango broke up with her. And, I mean, they just completely ignored everything. And that's what bothers me. Why? Because WWE Creative didn't come up with it, and God forbid they don't get the goddamn credit for something. So fuck you, WWE. Fuck you, Creative. I mean, you're anything but fucking creative. And yeah, I'm going to bat for Adam Rose. After what I've seen, especially with the ESPN E60 documentary, yeah, I'm going to go to bat for that guy because he's a decent fucking human being. So fucking sue me. Okay, I guess that went on long enough here. Next came the main event, which I'll give SmackDown credit, was not a tag team match. Normally they go into like tag team and six-man tag matches. Not tonight, thank God. They went to a one-on-one match, and it was Kane versus Roman Reigns, again for the 605th time. This wound up being a no disqualification match. It turned out to be pretty good. They brought out kendo sticks. They brought out the stairs. They brought out multiple tables. Eventually, oh man, there was one point where Reigns got put through a table with Kane, and I thought that might have been it. But there was a Superman punch, and then Roman Reigns speared the hell out of Kane right through that table. Gets the pin. There's a big celebration. Then it cuts backstage to J&J Security standing next to Seth Rollins. And then, of course, the question from Renee Young, what are you, thinking about this? And by the way, I should note by now that Randy Orton is nowhere to be seen. Oh, ain't it great? John Cena is nowhere to be seen. Oh, ain't that great? Not really. I mean that. It's great. And then it's the interview is interrupted by Dean Ambrose. He winds up clocking J&J Security and brawling with Seth Rollins. Then Roman Reigns runs from the ring to the back, and they start fighting. And they have a little bit of a stare down between Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns extends his hands. Ambrose dodges it, goes down, picks up the belt, then puts the belt on Roman Reigns and says, "Don't worry, I'll take it this Sunday." So, all in all, I think the Kane Roman Reigns match was okay. I think it being a no disqualification match actually helped it because I've seen these guys fight each other 605 times. So it seemed like a little bit of a gimmick match. I think helped it out because honestly, I don't know if I want to sit there and watch them wrestle again. At least this kind of changed it up a little bit. It's like, here you go. We're giving you a Diet Coke, but you gave me a Diet Coke last time. Okay, we're going to put a lemon wedge in there. Does that make it better? Well, yeah, it makes it a little bit better. It's still Diet Coke, but at least there's a twist on it this time. So all in all, it worked. Like I said, I'm going to give this show a win. I think pretty much from top to bottom, you can watch the entire show. I would definitely skip through the commercials, but it's worth checking out, especially if you're a WWE defender. I mean, fan. You can check it out. I'm getting a little suspicious here because I'm going to share my theory now. There's stories going around about Dean Ambrose. I'm thinking right now with the way they're building up. I mean, they're really pushing Dean Ambrose in this match. I mean, there's 4 men. I mean, they should be playing at the fact that, here's Seth Rollins. He doesn't have to get pinned to lose his title. Kane will get fired if he loses the title. They highlighted 3 of the 4. I don't know why. I'm not upset that Randy Orton wasn't on the show, but it boggles my mind to why they didn't want to feature him for some reason. To me, booking-wise, that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, either Dean Ambrose is going to do one of 2 things, and neither one of them are very good. Dean Ambrose is either going to take the pin because he has the least amount to lose, or the other theory, and again, this is a theory, not a spoiler. There's a big, theory going around that Dean Ambrose is going to turn heel. To me, I just don't think that makes sense because, okay, kayfabe-wise, Seth Rollins betrayed him. He hates Seth Rollins. He stalked Seth Rollins for damn near a year. They had they about killed each other at Hell in a Cell. Then Seth Rollins almost ended his career when he gave him the curb stomp on those cinder blocks. So why the hell would he try to join that faction? The only thing that makes sense would be that the Authority is getting tired of Seth Rollins. So they bring in Dean Ambrose and they just kind of promise him, okay, you buy your time, we'll give you a shot at, I guess you could either A, give him a shot at the Intercontinental title at Hell in a Cell, or he wins the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then eventually the Authority gets fed up with Seth Rollins. They turn on him. Dean Ambrose cashes in and wins as a heel. Now that's the only thing and that's me stretching it. Personally, I like him being a face, but is Dave Coco brought up on our Payback preview show when we were doing a pick'em contest, the reason he's probably getting turned heel is because he's becoming way too popular and he's selling more merchandise than John Cena, and we can't have that. Because, it's what happened with CM Punk. CM Punk started out selling John Cena, they turned him heel. They, God, who else was out selling him? I don't know who else was out selling him. But anyway, that's what it's looking like right now. So definitely worth your time. As far as getting Payback, I'll leave that up to you because apparently you can get the month of May for free because that's what you do when you're a big legit Fortune 500 company, but a publicly traded company. Hell, I don't even know why anybody's going to pay for the WWE Network now because, hell, they're giving you every other month free. Simple. You join up, get your free month, and about like a couple of weeks in, cancel your subscription to it. And after you cancel your subscription, by the time the next month rolls around, you won't get charged for it. And then the month after that, they're going to give away for free again. So, but anyway, that's going to do it for me. Be sure to stay tuned here. Dave's going to do an NXT review. I'm still looking for copies of the Ring of Honor's War of the World, so if anybody knows where a link to it, just put it down here in the doodly-doo. We've also got reviews of Monday Night Raw out and Lucha Underground in case you missed those. And again, we'll be back with Monday Night Raw come this Monday. Dave will hopefully do a TNA review sometime over the weekend. Don't forget to get your picks in for Payback. And just let us know. Just find our pay-per-view profits page on YouTube. You can like and subscribe to us there along with Facebook and Twitter and get your picks in. You have until the pay-per-view starts to get your picks in, so please do so quickly. So that's going to do it for me. And in the meantime, kids, I'm going to tell you to visit KocoSports.com. That's KocoSports.com. It's your home for all combat sports. That includes boxing, mixed martial arts, pro wrestling, amateur wrestling, sumo wrestling, taekwondo, kickboxing, judo. You can get your nose broke doing it. We got you covered there on the site. Be sure to check out our news and gossip section, updated daily by Rob. And also be sure to check out our very popular video on demand section. The best part about KocoSports.com, aside from it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's absolutely 100% free. So that's going to do it. And since Dave's wanting to give words of wisdom, my words of wisdom before we go is, when a woman says go ahead, don't you go ahead. Do not do it. That is a fucking dare. You're taking your life in your own hands if you do it. So when a woman says, oh yeah, you go right ahead, do not under any circumstances go right ahead. So that's going to do it for me. So this is Boom Boom, and for my partner Dave Coco, I am over. Boo 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 boo.